Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folarin, and I'm here alongside my colleague Sissoco James, TVC News Assignment Editor. Indeed. So here we are. First of all, we'll be hearing from the president today because there are indications that the president will indeed be addressing the nation. I suppose it's probably going to be about what to do with the easing of the lockdown, right? Whether to maintain as is, extend, or indeed scurry back into
total lockdown.
into lockdown. Well, I suppose they're thinking about it, and the matter is not a simple one. Experts are saying that, look, there are trade-offs, there are compromises. It's a compromise between, letting people go about their daily sustenance and at the same time keeping the population safe. So it's not an easy choice at all. And we'll see how the president and his advisors have sorted that problem out and what they think we should be doing. Talking about that, of course, the matter of we still have to remain safe. Records are not, all indications are that we still have a lot more that we could do in the region of the precautions they're telling us about, social distancing, and maybe even washing of hands. Are we taking it seriously enough? Because all of this is that we have to beat this scourge. There is no cure, and so the best method of defense we hear is to prevent, and that's where there's a problem. But as you know, over in what's that East African country?
Guinea Bissau.
In Guinea, well, no, in Madagascar,
Yeah.
they've come up with a traditional remedy.
Yes.
And the president actually got a sample of that yesterday. It was born by the president of Guinea Bissau, who had paid a courtesy call on our President Muhammadu Buhari, at State House yesterday. And he's just come out of an election and a runoff in his country, right? Tell me about that.
Yes. It wasn't an easy ride for him, because even at some point, the main challenger, the first ballot, the main challenger actually won, and then, but you need a majority for you to become president, so they went for the runoff, and it was the runoff that he actually won. Even as it stands today, the challenger, Dominos Pereira, said that he's still going to. He has even petitioned. The matter is still in the Supreme Court in Guinea-Bissau, but the ECOWAS has decided that
Mr.
Mbalo should, be the president, and that is why he has been reaching out to other West African leaders, to give him the support. Okay. And that is why, if you notice, he actually came. He's a young man.
Yes.
He's about 45 or 47 years.
Yes.
So he said he actually came to Nigeria to seek fatherly advice from our own president, on how to run the country.
Well, on account of Nigeria being one big brother.
Yes, big brother.
So whoever was president, maybe the same would apply.
Exactly. And Nigeria has been giving that support. Don't forget what happened in the Gambia when they had the same contentious presidential election where Yahya Jammeh refused to leave. It took the intervention of Mr. President to show that truly we are the big brothers in West Africa. And he sent
so we have influence.
Yes,
we have influence.
Yes, huge influence, and all over the world, Nigeria is being respected for that, always playing the big brother role when it comes to matters like this. And that is why the Guinea-Bissau president actually decided to come, and seek the president's
consult
advice
with the president, especially on, as he said, his country was just like settling down following the, tension, anger,
Yes.
That we follow the runoff. These things are as they usually are. And so he's thinking along the lines of a government of national unity. In Guinea-Bissau. And so he wanted to consult with the president. Nigeria has experience in those kind of things, and so how it goes. And also on the scourge that's affecting the whole world, corruption. Any ideas on how to also tackle corruption in his native country. He as we say, it was just like leaning on the big brother, Nigeria, the big brother Nigeria, headed up by President Muhammadu Buhari. Well, he said, as you said, he was a young man. He said, fatherly advice, that kind of a thing. Just tell it to me. What do you think? How should we go? These are the kind of ways I'm going. It was a mark of respect for Nigeria.
Exactly.
Those words indicated a mark of respect for Nigeria. That is for President Muhammadu Buhari, but on behalf of Nigeria. He knew that he could consult with Nigeria. And as I said, he came bearing a bottle of COVID organics. COVID organics is what Madagascar calls its own home-brewed remedy
against for COVID-19.
For COVID-19. For COVID-19.
Yes.
So he presented this to the president, who had received it. We heard some time ago that, first of all, Madagascar, as you know, has developed this COVID organics. That's what they're calling it, COVID organics. It's a home brew by their own research institute over there. Not everybody is on board with COVID organics. Even our president has said that, look, whereas he's ready to, explore all options, he's going to be led by science, right?
I think all over the world, that is what is being done. Even if you have, in quotes, a cure or a remedy, it has to go through scientific evaluation, through researches by those who matter.
Yeah.
We shouldn't just. I remember the last time we had the commissioner. Commissioner for Health.
In Lagos.
Yes, in Lagos.
The prof.
He gave us the process.
Yeah.
It's not something that you just say, okay, fine, this is going to work. Because there might be an after effect in future.
You're right.
Well,
the prof was speaking in relation to vaccine.
Yes, the vaccine.
But this is a
remedy.
It's a drink.
Yes, even if it's a drink, it's a drug.
It is a drug.
It's a drug. But so if you take the drug today, what happens in the next couple of days?
So
that's why the president is saying, I would still want to keep to science.
It has to be
let's
led by
respect
science.
what science will bring out.
Let's
not that he's discarding the remedy. No. But first, let's also let's evaluate it through science.
So whereas we thank our brothers over in Madagascar, but at the same time,
and don't forget Madagascar. Even with that, they still recorded the first casualty.
Indeed.
Indeed. It means it's not really foolproof like we are all.
Who knows? I don't know that you can necessarily go that route. Because in the sense that people might still die from malaria, whereas there is actually an effective cure.
It doesn't take the fact away that at least they brought out something that people can still have hope.
Indeed. And our president was at pains to say that his position has not changed from day one. The very first instance of mentioning of COVID organics, he had always said that it will be subjected to all the tests necessary before we know what's the next step with this. Our guest this morning, actually, is to look at relations in Africa in the context of the visit of the Guinea Bissau president, Sissoco Embalo, Mr. Embalo's visit to the president, especially to consult, following the bumpy ride that he had to pursue to arrive in office. And first of all, we'll have Ambassador Ayo Olukoni, who is, I think by now people will know Ambassador Ayo Olukoni. He's the DG of NASIMA. He's a former High Commissioner of Nigeria to Australia, and he'll be joining us. I don't know if it's on the phone or on Skype. Ambassador Olukoni, good morning, sir. You're on the phone.
It's nice to hear your voice.
Thank you very much.
Trust you're staying safe.
Indeed.
It's very safe in the studio. And also when you finish, you go home to stay safe. Indeed.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. And also to say that we also have watching at the same time, effectively being on the program as well, is Mr. Libros Oshoma. Mr. Oshoma is a public affairs analyst and he's a legal practitioner. Good morning, Libros.
Yeah, good morning, Uncle Yori and Sissoco James. I greet you. I agree with all your points in the studio.
Thank you very much.
And I know you are staying safe.
Thank you very much. Now, Ambassador Olukoni, first of all, put in context for us, if you will, it's a diplomatic shuttle, is it? Between the Guinea-Bissau president to Nigeria to come and meet with our president, and as he said, like touch base with him and get some sort of advice. Put that in context for us. Is this the way it goes? He was speaking of, evidently he was talking about, leaning, consulting with a much more experienced president and country. How does all of that work?
Well, I think the first thing I'd like to say is that even in the most difficult circumstances, when there are wars going on across the world in different nations, diplomacy does not stop. It still goes on. So this is an example of what we've seen in terms of the context in which all of us are trying times, the difficulties, the diplomatic shuttles continues. So this is what we are seeing in terms of the visit of the president from Guinea-Bissau. So that is understand. That is the thing.
Does this
must clear first? And of course, in context of our sub-region, also you would know that there's some problems here and there, but one thing or the other, the elections in places that is still hanging in the air, even though somebody has been matched. So the diplomatic shuttles in West Africa continue as far as bilateral relations and as far as the multilateral relations and relations between ECOWAS countries is concerned. So that was why the Guinea-Bissau president came in. And don't forget that our dear country and the president plays a very, very important role in West Africa. And I think that's what we've seen playing out now. The consultation to see President Buhari in terms of sorting things out. But I think the Guinea-Bissau president decided to kill two birds with one stone. He came with his own list, what he wants to do, and also the fact that the COVID organics, which Madagascar claims may be the silver bullet, is in my country, and decided to bring it to the president and bring it here.
I imagine Nigeria, like any country, will want to be careful not to be seen to be interfering in the domestic affairs and politics of other countries. How does that play? Because as Asuko was saying, I'm alongside Asuko James in the studio. You can't see that. As he was saying earlier, his opponent has actually gone as far as to the Supreme Court. So as far as the opponent is concerned, it's still a live matter. Now, President Embalo coming over here, does that confer on him some sort of advantage, credibility, at least the perception of it among the populace, since it was a hard-fought race?
Don't forget that within our sub-region, honestly speaking, a lot of the progress has been made as a result of diplomatic interplay within the ECOWAS sub-region. The crisis, most of the time, has been sorted out through this consultation process. When it became necessary to pull out the arms, we did under ECOMOG. But the point which I would like to make and we must understand is that the days of saying that you will not intervene in the affairs of other countries is almost gone. If you have a regime which is not living up to its responsibility under the concept of the responsibility to protect, and states do have rights to intervene, even militarily. But anyway, what I'm saying is that ECOWAS has established a track record helping to mediate even in the internal crisis between various contending forces in respect to states. So I don't see this as strange. It is part of the effort to try and find out that eventually that they sort out whatever crap and whatever problems which is happening.
Okay, Ambassador, I'm going to have to interrupt you for a moment. Thank you very much for being on the program. Please stay with us. We'll go on a short break. We'll be right back. Also with Libros Oshoma. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back, and thank you very much, Ambassador Olukoni, for staying with us on the phone. Alongside Asuko James, and he has a question for Libros Oshoma.
Yeah, Libros.
Yes.
Yes, you can.
Now, if you can hear me, this visit, so many people will say Africa or West Africa is always having contentious elections, and at the end of the day, they find one place to come to, which is Nigeria. Is Nigeria really playing that role, or how is Nigeria really playing that role, in quotes, of a big brother? Are we really the big brother in Africa?
Your question is a hydra-headed one, and I will attempt to, guess an answer. Yes, directly we are playing a big brother. Even before at the introduction of the program, you did mention the case of Yaya Jammeh in Gambia.
Yes, yes.
The case of the ECOMOG troops in Liberia, is still very fresh in our memories, and they're led largely by commanders from the Nigerian military. So apart from that, also you'll find that right from the 60s, Nigeria has played a very big broader role in Africa. Even when at the formation of the ECOWAS, also Nigeria played a major role, with the formation of ECOWAS. And till date, I remember, even discussing this matter not too long ago at the studio. Till date, how Nigeria had succeeded in helping to come to the rescue of some of these challenges in especially in West Africa sub-region. And the fact that ECOWAS, when you place ECOWAS vis-a-vis the challenges facing AU, ECOWAS had step up to the plate much more than AU. We agree, we have our own internal problems, we have our internal crises, our electoral processes also are not perfect, but to a very large extent, we have been able to also show consistency in our election. Yes, there are challenges at every election, but for 20 years last year, 21 years running now, we have had unbroken, electoral what do you call it now? Democratic experiment. Mm-hmm. And so to that extent, for somebody who had practiced democracy in Africa for 20 years, you can't say that that country is not experienced in terms of democratic practice, norms, and also reforms. So we are not where we were in 1999, and even though we are not where we should be. And so if you put all of this together, when you have disputes, mm-hmm. Even the role played by Nigeria in Gambia alone, people had expected that Gambia was going to go into a war, considering the powers exercised before then for 22 years by Yaya Jammeh. But it took the intervention of Nigeria majorly, to ensure that peace was brokered. And then if you saw also before now, Obasanjo in Liberia, how Obasanjo was able to remove Charles Taylor from Liberia and eventually subsequently handed him over to the International Court at The Hague. So all of this, if you put them together, Nigeria, coupled with our population, is not a country that you can just, say because of our problem, then you don't need to seek assistance from. And that's why we played that big brother role. But even though I expect that with the role that we have played in international diplomacy, I think we also need to also put our house in order, now much more than ever before.
All right then. Ambassador Lukoni, the visiting president had also, Ambassador Lukoni, I believe you're still with us. Okay, we'll reconnect. In the meantime, Libros, the visiting president, I believe in his shopping list of ideas, he also wanted something on how to combat corruption back in his country, because all of these things lead towards leading a nation well. So on the one hand, settling down how to settle down the place and peace, that's the main one.
Yeah.
But also ideas on how to combat corruption was on his shopping list.
Yes, like I said, we have our problems. We have not been able to perfect even the fight against corruption, but that does not mean that there are no massive gains. Just recently also we recovered about $311 million Abacha loot, that also is a landmark for some other African countries whose head of state probably also had taken out funds from the coffers, and then also we've successfully prosecuted some, former aides or former government officials, and assets have been recovered. These are gains that nobody, can close his eyes to.
And possibly,
these are both
possibly, Libros, also the establishment of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission.
Yes,
because again, around Africa, it is seen as a major thrust.
Yes, it is. It is. And then the EFCC has been established since 2011, if I can remember, and that 2001, since 2001. And for close to 20 years running now, the achievement has, something you can't undermine. This year alone, if you look at the statistics coming from the EFCC and the numbers, if the numbers are anything to go by, a lot had been recovered. And so all of these approach are things that as an African country, small African country, you cannot just sit back there and say you want to copy without having to also talk to those that are practicing. And then lastly, quickly, because the most important thing here is that you have a contentious, election, and ECOWAS had an AU.
Okay. In the meantime, Ambassador Lukoni, welcome back. We got you back on the phone.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we were saying that the visiting president of Guinea Bissau, Sissoco Embalo, also wanted sort of pointers on how to combat corruption. And where you came back is what do you think of that? Probably we have some of those organs like the EFCC and the Corrupt Practices, Commission, and all of those. I mean, do we have what we could? Do we have things that he could possibly take back to his country as ideas?
Yes, of course. I think we do have the leverage against the background of our experience in terms of conflict resolution, mediation, as far as our region is concerned.
No, corruption in particular, sir. Corruption.
Well, on the question of issues of corruption too as well, I think the respective institution which we have, like your EFCC, the various organizations,
ICPC,
which we have, very useful institutions which can be replicated. And from experience, I know that we have helped in terms of helping to set up some institutions. And I'll give you a very good example. While I was serving in Kenya, there was the section on ethics and governance in the State House in Kenya, and to be able to help in terms of the vision of the Kibaki government. And the Kenyan government, under leadership of Kibaki at that particular time, decided to share the experience of Nigeria. I think it was Mrs. Obi, who was then one of the anti-corruption czar. And they came to Nigeria to share experience. So when head of state come here, the thing is that, look, listen, we want to share your experiences. Can you help us? And sometimes we go here and giving them the ideas. We also support them in terms of setting up institutions. And some of our personnel who have involved in such processes are sent to those places and provide support for them.
Indeed.
It's like way back, if you remember, when Nigeria even had to provide keys for country as far away as Botswana.
Yes.
So this is one of the things which are. But before we finish, I would also like to make a small little remarks as far as this question pandemic itself is concerned. If you could,
Sure.
And that historically, and this is from a New York Times article, which I would really recommend, How Pandemics End. That there are two types of ending. Medical, which occurs when incidences and death rate plummet. And then the social ending, when the epidemic of fear about the disease itself wins. And when people are asking, when will this social ending, when will pandemic end, they are talking about the social end. in terms of the pandemic of itself. So this is the stage in which we are entering as far as this is concerned.
Indeed.
But of course,
the president is expected to address us today.
Yeah.
Sometime today, the president is expected to address the nation on aspects of what you have brought up just now.
Of course, this is going to come forward, and since I serve as DG Nasima, maybe I keep this thing too as well. The whole question of striking a balance between opening the economy as well as still ensure that fight in terms of the spread of the pandemic goes on. The signals we are getting from our members is that, look, listen, at this stage, we really have to have a strategic approach in terms of opening up the economy gradually. As I say to you, I'm in the office, not all of us are here. We're gradually opening up in the secretariat, itself. The heads of departments are here, and everybody is social distancing. Then with the mask, we are not open to the public. But online, we are doing a lot of work and continuing. So I think these issues of gradual opening, and of course, the whole question of responsibility on part of people themselves, taking responsibility is key and very important.
I want to thank you very much, Ambassador. I want to thank you very much, Ambassador Ayo Olukoni, for joining us this morning. As you said, you're in the office already, so work has begun in earnest, albeit on a different level, where we're beginning to approach the so-called new normal. Thank you very much, Ambassador Ayo Olukoni. And Libros, Mr. Oshoma is still on the line with us. The president. The other thing, of course, is that, well, I don't know if you wanted to add anything to the visiting president's visit to our president, especially in the area. I think you sort of aired your impressions on what we had to contribute.
What I was adding was the fact that yes, why he came to seek Big Brother advice, but majorly we can also rule out the fact that majorly why he's here because the election is still in contention, and so as to avoid a Gambia situation where the threat was heightened, and so he's basically taking a turnaround, countries where he knows help can come immediately in the event that it takes a different turn.
Okay then. Okay, Libros, stay with us, please, because we're going to go off on a break now. When we come back, we'll continue aspects of this conversation, even go into the thing that Ambassador Olukoni also put up about, how to approach the whole issue of reopening, so to speak. We'll continue with that, and of course we'll open the phones and get contributions from home. Stay with us, please. Okay, welcome back then. And Ambassador Olukoni has left us, and we thank him for part of his time this morning. He's the DG of Nasima. He was speaking to us from the office, and he's gone on to other aspects. We've managed to arrest Barrister Libros on his way to the courts. I think courts are also doing
virtual.
Lagos State did the first virtual. Libros, I don't know if you were going to be doing virtual. Your chambers, have your chambers gone virtual yet?
Yes, we have been virtual even before
There you go.
Before now. It's just that I also like the approach that the National Assembly had taken in amending the Constitution to accommodate virtual sitting, because with the Supreme Court narrow interpretation of Section 253 vis-a-vis Section 396 subsection 7 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, you will find out that any court convicted virtually for a criminal matter can easily be challenged by virtue of the provisions of Section 34(5) of the 1999 Constitution that says all criminal matters sitting must be public.
Okay.
And so I like the fact that the National Assembly is timely amending that section to accommodate this new normal.
Okay. But I suppose the focus that President Embalo brings to the fore is the role of Nigeria, and he brings, Nigeria's role in Africa, and especially in the sub-region that Ambassador Lukone and Libros himself has commented upon. Okay, Mr. Yakub has come in. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Chief Jerry.
Okay, good morning, Mr. Yakub.
Good morning to your resource person, Mr. Lebros.
Yes, indeed.
You see, Chief Jerry, I'm less concerned of politics of West Africa.
No, you can't be less concerned. Mr. Yakub, you can't be less concerned. We have a whole president visiting with our president. It's a very important matter, Mr. Yakub.
Yeah. See, Chief Jerry, please, let me land my point. It's an important matter, but see, life before politics. Chief Jerry, you see?
I hear you, Mr. Yakub. I don't want to wrestle with you. I don't want to wrestle with you. I beg your pardon, please, sir.
Okay.
But we have set up the subject matter. You can't come and say you are less concerned with the subject matter. You now want to go on to the one that you are more concerned with. It doesn't work, sir. It doesn't work that way. But what did you want to speak about? That's the problem. So sorry about that. But you see, when we set up a subject, please, help us air it, if you will. But to come and say, I'm less concerned about that subject, let me now tell you what I want to talk about. So sorry.
I think can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes.
Yeah, I think Alhaji Yakub is also talking about this same subject, but I think it is the way he started.
Okay, his introduction,
the same issue.
Oh, okay.
It has to do with the same issue that brought the Guinean president. He came with COVID.
Exactly.
COVID organic. Yeah, and then also talking about the role of Nigeria, as a big brother in Africa. And
all right then. If indeed I did make a mistake, then I must apologize. I must apologize to Mr. Yakub if I did make a mistake.
Maybe the intro actually.
But we don't know. We just don't know. But if in case, perchance, because our callers are very, very important to us. If perchance I got it wrong, then we need to just say, look, maybe your entry was what the problem was.
Because what he was talking about was the solution to this issue, starting from Nigeria as a big brother.
Yes.
Now,
because I wanted to stay on the diplomatic side of town. If we have a president,
we should blaze the trail.
Thank you. We have the president of Guinea Bissau with us. It's an important diplomatic event, and we wanted to look at the kudos. I hear that we even have on tape some reactions. Let's get the reaction of the president of Guinea Bissau.
For me, in this situation or another situation, I can come to greet my father. That's why I'm here.
So what have you come to tell him?
Just the situation in Guinea-Bissau, and then to know about him.
There was some contention after President Embalo won the elections. And in fact, there was a process that the judiciary had got involved in, and it was at the Supreme Court. And no decision had been taken yet. But it was clear to everybody that the elections had been free and fair, and that President Embalo had won. So he went ahead with the swearing-in ceremony and forced the issue, and then ECOWAS recognized him as the legitimate president of Guinea-Bissau.
That indeed our guest, the Guinea-Bissau president, Sissoco Embalo. And since then, Abdul Latif in Jos has come on the line. Good morning, sir.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Yori.
Good morning, sir. Is that your phone or what? Hello.
Sorry, good afternoon, Mr. Yori.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good morning.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I'm reacting. I call in respect to the visit of the presence of Guinea-Bissau to our dear country.
Yes.
I think his visit is an indication that our country is doing well in Africa. and as such, we have a lot to learn from. And but I'm also concerned that most times we don't tend to profit from our, diplomatic, approach to, Africans. And I wish, we should, have something to gain from our brotherly, approach in West Africa. It should not just be, a Father Christmas approach at all times. It should be that, you can, yes, you have given, you came to seek for an advice. And of course, our interest has to also be, in line with, with whatever, our African brothers come to seek from us.
Indeed.
In Nigeria.
Indeed.
Thank you. That is my solution.
Thank you very much, Abdul Latif. Mutually beneficial relations is what it's all about. But as we caught, the few seconds of the president speaking there, essentially, as he said, it was to touch base with Nigeria and the president and just to know a bit about him, because the president of Equatorial Guinea, I beg your pardon, of Guinea Bissau, he has a far way to go. Relatively speaking, he's a young man relative to President Buhari. Although president is president, but still, the man very humbly said that it's like coming to visit my father. So there will be much in the way of politics that perhaps he might be able to bring to bear, and especially as he wants to know. You can't really blame him. I'm just touching base with the big brother here. Nigeria. Which country in the sub-region doesn't know about Nigeria? So I have to be able to say, I went and I spoke with President Muhammadu Buhari. Good morning, Mr. Joshua. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
I hope it is well with you. My regards to your guests, your colleagues, and
Asukwa James.
Uncle Libros.
Okay.
Uncle Yori, my own is, I hope the COVID organic is properly looked at. I think it's time for us to have our own local solution to some of these things, because the politics of the world is such that some things may be delayed. So I really advise that that matter should be properly looked at, and the politics of it should be less than, saving lives.
Sure.
If we can come up with the appropriate solution, it will be very good for us, and the one that is localized.
Indeed.
And I just want to chip this in for the president tonight. Please, this lockdown has failed. It's not working. They're just locking down a few of us and letting go of so many people. Let Nigerians take responsibility for saving their own lives. If people don't take responsibility, you can't lock down the system where many people are healthy and a few are sick. You can't lock down those that are healthy. So they should look at this lockdown, strategy. That is not working.
Okay.
It's half-baked solution.
All right.
I think they should review it. Thank you very much, Uncle Yori.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joshua, for calling in. And as he said, going back to COVID organics that the visiting president brought in, Madagascar has made that mixture, that preparation, and is giving it away free, that they will be using with the most desperate of cases. So, look, in any case, it will be a way to sort of understand what it can do. But you pointed out that whereas before it didn't have any death, it has recorded its first one. So one that is cause for caution there. But the president has said that his position has never changed. He's open to any African, effort, but he will be taking from science. We have someone on the phone. Mazi Okoroafo, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. It's also for Mesere. Honestly speaking, the coming of President Sissoco is a welcome development. That to show that Nigeria is an allied country to all these African countries, which means that they have respect for us. Now you ask yourself, usually some few months before this coronavirus issue, their colonial masters,
date the country before this election. And you see the president insisted that coronavirus or no coronavirus, that the election must hold. Although it brought so many controversies from World Health Organization that under this condition, they say distance, you still want to conduct. Well, he has a reason for conducting that election. Although the first instance, he didn't win. But later, with the second batch of a run-up, he won the election. But the thing is, what do we learn from his coming to Nigeria to see our president, Muhammadu Buhari? Because he has a respect for us, and he knows very well that for him to succeed in the country, Guinea, he has to get the backing of African countries.
Yes.
And Nigeria being allied country number one, in terms of any resource you can think of in Africa, let him go first and pay homage to the president of the Republic of Nigeria. Now, we Nigeria as a country, we should also leave an example to other countries too, that we should come up to that level, that we should be moving forward, not the question of... Now, you see, at your prologue, you made mention about the Madagascar's tonic.
Yes.
That the origin or the roots of all this were from Guinea. Agreed. And even the Madagascar man was there on France 24, when he was analyzing everything for over 30 to 40 minutes. He granted France 24 interview to analyze the Madagascar 24. Now, we too, what do we learn? If a country like Guinea, we have the backing or the background of such herbs, what is Nigerian people waiting for? Mr. Yuri, this is a question that everybody in Nigeria should bring the answer.
Indeed.
Thank you very much. Have a blessed day in Lagos.
Thank you very much, Mazi Okorova. Libros, the where Mazi ended there, the matter of, look, Nigeria is not slack when it comes to herbal medicine. We've talked about this before, and there are those that are actually smarting that Madagascar has brought this thing out. If only things have been favorable here, we also have ideas. Let me put it like that. But perhaps there are we don't have the support that, unlike in the Madagascar case where the president is promoting it. I don't think our president is going to go as far as promoting any herbal preparation. But at least they can bring it out by themselves.
That's the difference between a father and a son. If you get what I mean. The son has more energy to move around and do promotion. The father won't have the same similar zeal and energy. But be that as it may, the issue here is you can't reinvent the wheel. Madagascar has said, we have put, some herbal medicine together and we have come out with this. And I like the approach of the president that, look, this is a global crisis. Africa might be different in terms of weather and climate.
Yes.
But we are also still, going to go with science because it needs to go through clinical tests. Our Food Administration and drug control agencies need to ensure that everything is done to take it through the appropriate medical process before administering it. But then, for me, like Mazi has said, is that we need to step up our plates.
In fact, sorry to interrupt you, Libros. Libros, forgive me for interrupting. There also is the question of how active are our herbal medicine practitioners being?
That's where I'm coming to.
Because I hear it. I hear that NAFDAC is reported to have said that so far only one person has approached it with any kind of product. Now, if that is the case, then it's a sorry affair.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That the first and foremost thing is that Madagascar did not wait to be approached. They actually put a team together. And so it is the team that they put together that actually came out with this. I know that even in Madagascar, a lot of other, agencies would have come up with theirs. But what the government did was to harmonize and coordinate and synergize all of them.
Okay.
Here, what we have lacking is the fact that, you have individuals, all claiming that they have cure. Even the past-space herbal also came out with a press release that they have cure, to COVID-19. But I also am aware that the government put up a team. But we do not get daily briefings or weekly updates, even when the presidential task force is making briefings, or even the National Center for Disease Control is briefing the government. We do not get briefing on the effort by government to find a cure.
Okay.
It's as if government is waiting for a cure from World Health Organization.
That's one way to. Sorry, Libros. That's one way to look at it. The other way might be that traditionally I don't know if it's a result of our historical past and our connections with the West, especially the colonial masters back in the day. We tend to lean more towards the academic, more towards the scientific, the testing, as we are told by all our intellectuals, as opposed to
colonial mentality.
You know, Azuko thinks maybe it's just a bit of colonial mentality. But forgive me, let me not keep Reverend Dominic waiting. I don't want to keep Reverend Dominic waiting. Good morning, Reverend Dominic.
Good morning, Yori. Good morning, Azuko.
Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, Libros. Yori, this is what Alhaji is saying, Yakub is saying. The way our brothers in Africa treat us as this big brother is not fair. When they need problems, they come in here, we solve the problem. But the way the children of this big brother is treated all over Africa is unfair, which means we don't have clear-cut diplomatic policy when we go to this table to negotiate. If it's America...
Dominic? I think the call dropped. I think the call dropped there. Yeah, we're talking about, if you want to call it colonial mentality, feel free to go ahead and do so.
Call it colonial mentality, because what we have been unable to do is to, take our herbal medicine through a scientific process that is acceptable, either nationally or worldwide. You find out that, the most common one is dosage. Most of this herbal medicine, what is the dosage? What is the scientific evaluation for dosage? Because every ailment, there is a minimum dosage that the body also can accommodate. So it is not enough to just put herbs together and say, go and take.
Although you are well aware, Libros, I'm sure you are aware that there are traditional medicine councils, at least I can speak of one in Lagos State, where the doctors there, some of them, allopathic as well as herbal medicine practitioners, have said to us that they've actually addressed the question of dosage. Now, I'm not saying it's a widespread occurrence.
No, the ones that have addressed the issue of dosage, you see a lot of people have approached them. Every morning now there's a herbal bitter leaf tea that I take because it is properly bagged. There is a dosage for it. But you don't just expect me now to just look at the man in America that went to take, was it garlic?
Yeah, ginger and garlic, and it was...
And garlic, and took overdose of it.
Yes.
So these are some of the questions, really, that they need to properly address. Because most of these, look at China, for example. China have been able to address that issue of dosage, and they take the traditional medicine through processes of scientific evaluation, and it is accepted, nationally in China now. We also need to do that. That is why, for me, the visit is instructive, two-pronged. One, Reverend Dominic also raised an issue of what is the big brother doing in terms of protecting its own policies in terms of as far as Africa is concerned.
Yeah.
And then secondly, people are looking to us to provide a cure to this problem, to this pandemic.
Okay.
And that is why they are coming to us.
One moment.
They are coming to us with...
One moment, Libros. Mr. Additional in the UK. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Yori.
Thank you for calling.
It's nice talking to you on this particular issue.
Okay.
I've listened to all the comments from others commentators. What I would like to say, our country, we are blessed, and we have a lot of professionals, even in the medical area. I think it is the right time now to be looking, not only monitoring and just giving a report about something that already happened. Let's look at how we can go into curing, controlling, and preventing. There's a lot of talk, and, it's not good. When something happens in our country, people are just looking at the financial gain. No, we need to think forward. And we are many. Anything happen in Nigeria is going to affect most of the other countries. And please, we need to wake up and make sure we kill this problem as, because, the way people are looking at it is not a joke. You need to come down to UK and see how people are dying in thousands. And then now Nigeria, we have a lot of professionals in-house that they can come together and solve this problem. Whether you want to look at it from the conventional medicine or you want to look at it from the herbal medicine, they need to come together. We got a lot of professors in Nigeria, talk less of the one outside. Thank you, Mr. Yori, and let's do it decisively, regardless of where you're coming from or your religion. And then we shouldn't even put everything to the president. People need to speak out. People need to talk genuinely, professionally.
Right.
You know, we are not talking about politics here. We are talking about life of many Nigerians. Thank you so much, and have a good day in Nigeria.
Same to you. Thank you very much, Mr. Deshina. Well, the medicine, which is on the sidelines, really, of the president, of the visit of President Embalo to Nigeria, he came to consult with the president, and we've spoken about the diplomatic aspects of that, and also what it means for Africa's Nigeria's foreign policy, focus, which is engaging with Africa, especially in the sub-region. But then the president, so very kindly, is bearing a bottle of COVID organics, which was somehow, I don't know how that happened, but between Madagascar and the president of Guinea Bissau, he presented it to our president. And that's what's led on to this talk now about finding a cure. The COVID organics that has taken center stage now in our conversation. I don't know. Let's see what Damilare Nikorodu has to add to the conversation. Good morning, Damilare. Well, while he's still trying to get connect with us, they're making a lot of points about Nigeria should have brought, to bear its prowess. And I think Reverend Dominic was the guy who brought that up, that what are we doing to harness? Take South Africa, for instance. By the way, South Africa has said that it has been approached by Madagascar. Is Damilare ready now?
Hello, good morning.
Oh, good morning, Damilare. We've been waiting for you. Go ahead, please.
Okay, sorry, sir. Good morning, sir.
Go ahead. Good morning.
Yeah, my own take about the whole issue is this. We are blessed with a lot of medicine in Nigeria. And if we can't come out to assist the world, and we are waiting for outside world to give us medicine, I think it's too bad. And one other thing is that we try as much as possible to politicize a lot of issues for selfish gain and selfish interest, which is not too good. What is applicable outside the world might not be applicable here. But everything is not about money, and we know what is really happening under this COVID-19 issue.
Okay.
We need to stop this kind of embarrassment.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Something positive.
Thank you very much, Damilare. We've completely run out of time. So I want to thank you, Damilare, for calling in and airing your view as well. And also, this is about the right time to thank Mr. Libros Toshoma, Public Affairs Analyst.
Thank you. Even though I wanted to say one last...
but we've completely run out of time. We don't have the time anymore. Thank you very much, Libros.
No problem.
We really appreciate you coming on the program. This is one of those subjects, especially as we got to the other side, the emotional side of health and cure and all of that. There are even things that we want to say, but we can't get it in anymore. So again, thanks to, and also once again, in case Mr. Yakubu is watching out there, I jumped down your throat. Sorry if I got it wrong. If you were indeed going to stay on the subject, that was my main concern. I wanted you to stay on the subject. But when you started off by saying that I'm less concerned, no, don't be less concerned. So, Azuko, I guess both of us, between you and I now, we now have to say thank you. And invite them to join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Fulani. Bye-bye for now.